in my head, my whole situation down there is just such a horror show in every regard. That's the mother of my children. I don't need her.
Well,
I don't need to subject her to that. No, nobody ought to be down there.
She'd end up accidentally braiding my butt hairs with her tongue like it was a Starburst wrapper. You know what I mean? Like how they do, like the chin. Yeah.
Welcome back, Airheads. Here we are once again. It's time for your favorite show about fancy shit with dumb boys. It's putting on airs here in the virtual Airstream studios. Back in effect, baby. It's me, Trey, him, Cho. What you doing, Cho?
Well, I'm just sitting here. I did want to say something off top just because you know our buddy Gareth Reynolds from the Dollop, often co-hosts putting on air.
Yeah.
I would say not just friend of the show, sometimes a part of the show. He's always the guy that whenever something fucks up with you, like your head explodes or you're on set, I can call Gareth anytime, day or night, and he'll be there. Well, I felt really bad for him because he's been working on this new podcast for a while, and yesterday, and for those of you that are listening to this Friday, June 16th or whatever, as we're recording this, yesterday was the day that Elon and Trump had their big spat on the internet.
Did he put out his new podcast yesterday?
Yesterday.
That's brutal. I didn't know that. I knew he was doing a new podcast. I did not know that it debuted yesterday.
And I know.
That's tough.
And it's really funny because I had forgot. I was going to announce yesterday, like I had just started making the process to putting public domain Sleepy Time Theater out for the masses. And I was going to announce that I was doing that yesterday and all that stuff happened. I was like, maybe not. And I even put a tweet up. I was like, I almost announced a podcast today, but seems like it's not the time. And everybody liked it. And then it hit me. I was like, wait, I think Gareth really did that. Like it really happened to him. And it's just so funny if you know how hard him and Dave have gone on Elon on their show, like that he would fuck him out of this. So yeah, no, he got none of the traction, or not as enough traction as he would, but he has a new podcast and it's called Next We Have. With Gareth Reynolds. You know him from We're Here to Help and The Dollop, obviously. So here's the show. It blends celebrity interviews with outrageous comedy and personal storytelling. Rather than anchoring itself to a single concept, the show opens the floodgates to an infinite pool of segments where Gareth takes listeners on a wild, hilarious, and unpredictable ride, as only Gareth can do, really. Whether grilling celebrities with offbeat questions or tackling hot-button issues, Gareth creates a space where the outrageous meets the relatable. It's on HeadGum, so go check it out. Next we have with Gareth Reynolds, friend of the show. Y'all know him, you love him. And I felt so bad for him. He did not tell me to do this. Like nobody told me to do this. I genuinely just felt so bad for our friend that I was like, I'll help throw some stank on it.
Dude,
I can't believe that didn't happen to us. That's
I was actually going to say, I was like, that is such a me thing to have happen that I can't believe. Yeah, right. It's the equivalent of that has definitely happened to me multiple times. So I can certainly commiserate. But in keeping with our recent recurring theme of talking about oafish Brits and stuff, and when they sound dumb. I don't think his uncle is actually dumb, but you just reminded me the last time I was on the Pastimes, Gareth got to talk about his uncle and not calling him dumb at all. He just said apparently because Gareth's parents are British, his whole family's British. He just grew up in the Midwest or whatever. But he said he's got an uncle who's fucking 6'9" or something and lives in this village in England and he's always busting out of his shoes. He can't keep shoes and shit. So, yeah, right. And I ended up crying, laughing because I was like, dude, I am picturing the most rock chewing fucking peasant oaf motherfucker just lumbering around this village, scaring the local children away, fucking throwing geese at people and stuff. It's like, get that torch out of my face. And that type of shit. And of course, he then riffed with me about that, about his uncle, who I'm sure is a lovely and very intelligent man. But that's what I was. I just got this image in my head, and it was fucking cracking me up. Yeah, you said the Hound,
but I actually meant Garf. I actually meant Yarf, and it's played by the same guy.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. From Hot Fuzz. I was about to say you said the Hound, but really I was picturing more.
Such butt.
We are
Garf?
such butt. We butt. Yeah.
Is it Garf?
It's Yarp. Well, first of all, actually, because I literally just rewatched that. I watched it with my sons for the first time 3 days ago.
Did they like it?
Yeah, they did like it. It hit for them. They liked they had seen
Have y'all trilled it up? Did y'all trill it up or you just do Hot Fuzz?
The trilogy? Well, they had seen Shaun of the Dead. Then we watch Hot Fuzz, and I'm going to watch The World's End with him, but we haven't yet. But,
World's End is underrated.
It is, because it's like, look, I agree with everybody.
The other two are better,
right,
sure.
I agree with everybody that it was the last one that came out, and it was not up to the standard of the first two, but that makes people act like it don't hit, and it does hit. It is a good hit movie.
When people do that, to me, that should just, like, that shouldn't be a bad thing. That's just credit to the first two movies. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, dude, Hot Fuzz, and personally, it's like Hot Fuzz is actually my favorite of the bunch.
No, I agree.
I think a lot of people
have come around to that line of thinking over the years.
But again, but to me, they're all different enough to where I don't care. I mean, the dynamic between Peg and Frost is what makes them all, and so it's very similar.
Dude, the script of Hot Fuzz is fucking insane.
And
well, they're all like that, but Hot Fuzz in particular, the little like breadcrumbs and references and shit that are built, the callbacks and stuff that they don't point out that are all throughout that fucking movie that you don't even think about. Like, it's one of the most rewatching ass movies that's ever been made.
Also,
it's just so good.
I know he did all of them, and also he did Baby Driver, which most people would say, like, well, that's his coup de grace or whatever. But, like, Edgar Wright was in his bag on Hot Fuzz, son. Like, the direction of that movie, like, the script is good, but the way that he shot it, the quick cuts, the everything was just chef's kiss.
Yeah, but anyway, the guy, I know his name. I know the Hound's actual name. It's Rory McCann. Rory McCann's character.
He rules.
Range. In that movie, because I'd forgotten, because like everybody, I just called him Yarp, right?
Yeah.
Which is all he like says, but his name is actually just Michael. Like, he don't even have like a nickname or nothing. Like, he's just Michael. Yeah. But everybody remembers him as Yarp. But anyway, I was going to say, because I brought, again, talking about dumb Brits and sounding, we all think their accents sound smart, but they be dumb plenty often too. Showed a couple clips last week, and I brought up a third one that I didn't have ready to show. And I was like, damn it, I'm sorry. I wish I had this ready. And I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, I tried not to spoil it, so I didn't spoil the clip.
That's correct.
I have since found it. So I've gone back and I've got it now. So this is our own little trilogy we've done here, our dumb Brit clip trilogy. Which,
honestly, I hope it becomes a franchise.
This one features more heavily, just in the name of equity, a dumb Brit lad. The other two we showed was all birds being dumb. This one, there's at least a man involved. We did tell you last week that it's from Geordie Shore, the British equivalent of Jersey Shore, which is on the British version of MTV. So here we go. Cho,
what's their MTV called?
It's just called MTV, apparently. Look up there in the top left.
Literally.
MTV's just also in Britain, which is not surprising. So you see that?
I got you.
All right. Again, if there's any audio issues, stop me. Otherwise, let it roll. Here we go. This is what I was talking about last week.
You said the relation's ready to move to the next step. The card had a moon on, and the moon was that far off from being a full moon. And I said, clicked, this is the next step.
Next step? Oh my God, is he about to propose?
I'm going to put it in your ass. We haven't done that yet, and that is the next step for the
I thought he was about to propose. Not try and stick it in my arse. That was not going in my arse.
Well, the card woman said you're ready for the next step.
The card woman said you're not putting
it was a full moon. It was a full moon. Let's have the cock in the arse.
That is the best. Like, sometimes it hits so much harder when it's arse and not ass.
Right.
And stick it in me arse is so much funnier than
propose, not stick it in me arse.
I mean, that is the next step, dude.
It speaks to the universality of the male experience or whatever. I bet in every major culture around the globe, a very similar scene has played out in relationships, because that's sort of how many men operate. It kind of speaks to the human condition in a way, that clip, I would argue.
And it's not even, by the way, just so you ladies out there know, it's not even like, oh, that's our preferred method of doing it. Like it's like it's like when you're in the mob. It's like you got to go to prison to let them know that, and not rat to let them know that you're in. Like that's
right.
it's just
like
a
proof,
symbol.
It's proof that you're really in this.
that we down. Yeah, that we down. It's
I will say, not to make it too personal, part of this is just because I know, as we all know, that my lovely wife listens to this show, which is me prefacing this with that is going to make it seem like I'm lying.
Yep.
But I've got a hang up about that myself. I've never been into, and I know a lot of alpha male types would hear that and think that that's equivalent to me being, like we were saying last week, they're like, oh, if you nail a chick who another dude just nailed, that's gay because the dick has just been there. It's kind of that where it's like, oh, a butt, that's what gays do. That's not what gays do. That's not at all it. That's not it. It's just that a butt is where poop be.
It's where poop be. Yeah, I mean,
just always.
It ain't for that.
No, and but again, God love the gays and all they do. I don't. You got to look. You got to make. You got to make do with what you got.
Hold on. No.
There ain't nothing wrong with fucking a butt. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm gonna nuke my entire fan base here if I don't watch it. It's just, again, I'm kind of a prude. I've said that for years. I have just certain things just kind of, it just ain't for me. And that's always kind of been one of them, frankly. So, and I'm talking about heterosexual butt stuff. Cho, go ahead.
I would like to make sure that nobody thinks that when I said that's not what it's for, that I meant that gay sex is unnatural, because what I meant specifically was on a woman, that's not what it's for. A man's ass, that's actually where the G-spot is. You know what?
Actually, you're 100% right. What a great recovery by you, because you're 100% right. That's what they say. I know. You're right.
That's
how you get to the prostate. I know.
I've been doing it on stage a little bit. It's like, I don't think God would have made that mistake. You know what I mean? And I was talking about to dudes in the crowd. I was like, everybody acts like they wouldn't like it. And I'm like, bro, y'all act like all these gay dudes are doing favors. You know what I mean? It's like, and by the way, there's no difference between my asshole and the gayest fucking asshole on the planet. Our assholes are the same. Everything in there's the same. And I'm telling you,
yours been blowed out too for years now, but for different reasons.
From the other end. From the other end.
Yeah, right. But
I'm saying, like, there's no doubt in my mind that if I would just go, I could. It would, because again, it hits for other dudes. Like I know. I can imagine.
Sure, it hits for me too. It's just like, dude. It's just like my whole. In my head, my whole situation down there is just such a horror show.
Sure,
in every regard.
Oh, I don't want nobody. No. Because my dick also
that's
works.
The mother of my children. I don't need her.
Well,
I don't need to subject her to that. No. God damn, it's fucking. Dude, nobody ought to be down there. She'd
end up accidentally braiding my butt hairs with her tongue like it was a Starburst wrapper. You know what I mean? Like how they do, like the chin. Yeah. But like the thing is like, sure, our G-spot is in our ass, but our dick also works. You know what I mean? So so when we have sex with a woman, we're both. But for a dude, like that's how both like. Their butt becomes a pussy. God, all right, we're getting.
Well, the kids call it a bussy.
A bussy, but I'm saying like that because there's.
You're not breaking new ground here. It's been acknowledged.
It was probably.
I think it's in the Oxford English Dictionary this coming year. Actually,
yeah. Well, I was probably, I would say, not in my 30s, but in my late 20s when I realized like, oh, sometimes they don't take turns. Like somebody is just the bottom.
Yeah,
you know
I didn't know that either. You say sometimes. I've gotten the impression
it's most of the time.
And that's so. And again, I'm saying this.
That means it hits,
right? But it's also like that's so wild to me. I guess it just speaks to just how many people are on planet Earth and how there's somebody for everybody. Because to me, it's
live for every pot.
To me, it's like you're already like in such a minority to begin with, right? And then, and in terms of like trying to find somebody to be
beggars
with,
can't be choosers.
To be with, right? Trying to find somebody to be
funny.
With. You said beggars. I'm sorry.
Beggars can't be choosers.
I just now heard it. It took me 15 seconds to hear it. But
that's okay.
Beggars can't be. That does hit.
Thank you.
You're trying to find somebody to like be with, right?
Yeah.
And you're already in a smaller pool.
You're both going to be together until you both burn in hell, like forever. You know what I mean?
As they say, as our papas say. But like, realizing as an adult that it then is segmented down further in terms of compatibility for them or whatever.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? Where it's like,
but even further.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's like,
now
it just feels to me like it would be so
power bottom.
Like that would make it so much harder to, but buddy, the truth is they have no trouble.
None at all. Cause they're men.
Exactly. They're men. And they gonna figure it out. They just all go to like the same park and they're like, who does this? And they're like, I do that. And they're like, let's go to this bush. And they go over there. Yeah. Cause that's how men, straight and gay alike, operate. So they don't have to worry about it as much.
And again, like if you need any more proof to where it's truly how you were born and not what you choose, it's like that's the proof. Because like most dudes just want to get laid all the time, and it's like, all right, well, I've got this one trick that'll really help. If you just be into dudes, you can do that, And it's like, hey, you like banging your girl in the ass? Well, like just get a long-haired dude and bend him over. You won't know the dip. Like, but I'm not into that. Like that's not what I like, and they love it, right? They love it, and. Then you got, so there's another grouping that I heard about, by the way, the other day. I don't know if you know this. I keep up with what Grindr's doing, mainly because of our friend, comedian Jay Jordan. Jay Jordan just be posting this shit all the time, and I love him, so I follow it. There's, on Grindr, so it used to be just top and bottom, right? Just top and bottom. And I don't think they broke it down to like, you can tell by the picture if someone's a twink, a bear, or whatever. Like, you don't have to.
Yeah. Twink, bear, otter, top, bottom, power, bottom, fucking, all
that
kinds
stuff.
of, that's what I'm saying. Like crazy categories where it's like.
But there's a new one. Okay. There's a new one. Because apparently top and bottom, anything binary, not working with that sect of folks. No. You know what I mean? Which is fine. But these dudes were like, they get on there and it's like top looking for bottom, bottom looking for top, and they felt alienated because they're neither. And what these people are is a side. They call them a side.
A side?
And that's someone, a side, a top, bottom, or side. And that is a gay dude who's not into either. They're only into basically 69 and jacking off and stuff like that, which is,
Look, dude, whatever melts your butter, but to me, like, why are you restraining yourself like that? You're putting shackles on yourself, going to just,
The only thing I can think
jobs
of is
and mouth only. Like, there's so many other. God has provided you with so many other fields in which to frolic.
Not to get weird, but this may be a group of people that are like Gen X that grew up during the epidemic, and maybe they just were like, I'll just do all this stuff.
And, you know what I mean?
Fair.
That's fair.
Just to be, I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, that might be it. But I'm sure that there's straight dudes who are like, I'd rather get blowjobs than bore one out. Maybe. I can't imagine it.
Me too. That's how I've always felt.
For me, it's both.
Right.
Both.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I know. I think we should probably move on because I feel like we're just going to get increasingly sexually explicit, and that's probably.
But I think we were fair. I think it came from a place of love,
fair and even-handed. Yes, I think so. What?
Why were we here?
I don't.
Where did this come from?
That clip, the clip I showed, the point of which was to highlight another
dumb
Brit, but the thrust, no pun intended, of which had to do with proposed anal sex, and that, of course, led us down this particular avenue. So, I mean, that's my fault. But anyway, you go ahead.
The first portion of this show is going to be like a good old fashioned Daniel Tosh clip show, because I've got some too. I've been saving clips for a while.
Good.
Yeah, I've been saving
some clips.
Me too. I've been saving some in my POA file. You're a member of it on Instagram, so we can put them in there. It's usually me doing it, and I hope that you don't see it and then go through them. I
don't actually think our system works pretty well, because what I do is I put my clips into our old Google Doc.
Right.
So I put them there, and you don't see them there, and you put yours on Instagram, and I don't see those there, which actually worked. I mean, honestly, we shouldn't even really have shared things, because we don't want each other to see the stuff.
That's my thing, is because, and this, like 10 or 12 episodes ago, I came prepared with a thing to talk about that you were going to talk about, because I thought I'd put it in the doc, but actually you put it in the doc.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's nice, separate but equal docs.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
We've fallen bass backwards into, I think, a pretty good system here.
I agree. We nailed it. This show runs like a fucking oiled machine.
I think anyone would agree. Yeah.
Yeah. As long as that machine don't work,
right.
You know what I mean? It's oiled.
Right.
It is
you
oiled.
You can oil a machine that don't work worth a fuck. Yeah. There's plenty of other things can be broke about a machine. Like oil don't fix everything, you know.
So for this first one, I'm going to give you an option on which one I do first. Do you want to see a hilarious related to the show, but you'll have to wait to see, and it won't be immediately clear, daytime talk show interview type thing? Or would you like to see a cinematic example of British parenting in the 40s?
Well, I mean, look, I want to see both.
We're going to see both, but which one do you want me to start with?
Let's start with that first one because we just did another modern era clip, so we'll do this.
Okay, let me know if you can see that.
So this is from. Did you say this from British daytime TV or just this from?
No. It's not from British daytime TV. But it fits this show, and you'll see why.
All right, let's see it, baby.
Question for Sylvia.
I have a really bad problem with social anxiety. I can't freak out. I can't.
You're doing pretty good now. But let me tell you where this comes from. You were accused of being a witch in a past life. You were put in a circle, and you had to name 2 people so that supposedly you wouldn't die. Except they didn't tell you that. They just said, tell us 2 people. You named 2 people, and all 3 of you were hung. So no wonder you have social anxiety.
Well, there you go. There you have it. There's your problem right there.
Thank you, lady.
Yeah. Also, like that girl, like that's not going to help with her anxiety. I don't think she's not going to be like, oh, okay. Well, now that I know I was a witch in a past life, now I'm smooth sailing. She starts crying in the middle of it. But yeah, that lady, whoever she is, somebody recently. I always wonder. Are there older people that are on social media that remember these things happening and they go find them somewhere?
Yeah.
And then a new generation is exposed to them because that medium or that psychic lady in that clip, I've seen multiple clips of her recently because she used to go on Montel's show all the time in the 90s, I guess, but that had been forgotten lost to the sands of time until someone found, I think, this clip and put it up. And now people have been finding other clips of her and they're all insane. All the ones that people share anyway. But like, I always wonder kind of how that, like, is this shit in the Library of Congress? Right. Like where somebody's mama's attic, where do they find this shit? Dude?
Right. Like is Montel, do they have like their official YouTube page or something that they're putting out old hits? Because I'm with you. Like, how are they getting? Like, I don't think that's a thing. So how are they getting this if they're not recording it on their TV and then uploading it? Mm-hmm. You know, because nowadays, like if it's a Rachel Ray or Ellen clip, it's like, yeah, that was on the internet, whatever. But like, dude, back in daytime TV, it was like a thing happened, and then if you missed it, that was it. Like
exactly,
it was gone forever. So yeah, you're right. Somebody would have to. I don't know, dude. But
it's not honestly, just that someone would have to like have it put away somewhere. They would then have to revisit it like in its entirety. I don't just mean the clip. They'd have to revisit all these. How many hours of old 90s Montel Williams shows do you think there are? A ton, right?
Oh,
and
thousands.
This implies that someone has a vault of old Montel Williams shows and has just been going through them, and at certain points like, oh, I can clip this one. I mean, like, are we missing something? Are we being stupid right now? Is there some easier way to get to this that we're not realizing? Because to me, it's fucking wild.
It's wild. It's like we can easily access this, but like Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game,
right? You know, everyone knows it's nowhere. You can't find it, right?
Nowhere. And I know this is more recent and stuff like that, but again, like. Back in this day, like now, granted, I guess the internet had started becoming a thing during this time, and so there was at least computers that you could store things in. But used to back in the day,
when video, dude, at the time that aired, you're talking about big floppy disks, not even the small floppy disks. You're talking about the big ones. I know, like
it's crazy.
You couldn't be storing like video shit on that. I mean, I don't know, but
if anybody out there knows. Well, me too, but like we're in the business Like, and I'm in the, like, I know how data storage and stuff like that works, and I have no concept for it. You know, if my dad was here, he could probably fill us in on this. But, like, a lot of times back in those days, they would straight up, like, there's a whole, like, some fan bases of certain shows or whatever, they're like pissed because, like, you can't see the first 2 seasons because they taped over those tapes.
That's what they used to do.
I mean?
Yeah,
they did. They would tape over those tapes because they were like, well, what? They didn't have a concept of reruns or anything like that. The only thing I can think of is, like, they didn't tape over the tapes, and those are still in syndication, and they play reruns from time to time, and so it popped up on a TV and somebody recorded it. But, like, I don't remember the last time I saw, although, you know what? Jerry Springer runs reruns. Jerry Springer runs reruns.
He does, but I don't think Montel does.
Well, also, you mentioned that is this in the Library of Congress? I know that was a joke, and it was funny. I genuinely do believe that. No, I know, but I genuinely do believe that Jerry Springer show deserves and needs to be in the Library of Congress.
Right. Because that was half a joke. Because sometimes for like posterity,
I'm not saying necessarily Montel and Maury. I mean, of course they did, but like Jerry Springer specifically, because like the Library of Congress, when something gets put in there, it's like, we deem this relevant to the culture at the time, and this was significant or whatever. And like, bruh, if you don't think that Jerry Springer wasn't capturing a moment in time, you lost your fucking mind.
So to go back to the thing itself, though, yes, that clip is hilarious. And I always, like, to me, it's like, if I was on that show, even back in the 90s, I went up there and I was like, so I've always had like a kind of a complex about, you know, like I was a fat kid growing up and I struggle with my weight and I'm self-conscious about it all the time. And she was like, well, here's what that is. You were a veal calf in the 1800s. You were a fat baby cow that was born to be eaten and shoved into the, you know, the brutal confines of an enclosure too small for your breadth by design. And you were fed grain from a bottle until you were near exploding.
So that your liver would be
appropriately fat until they found you desirable enough to slaughter and consume. And look, I'm not trying to like judge or cast aspersions on this particular woman or anything, but I'm talking about the woman in the crowd, because I'm saying, like,
I will judge.
If that lady said that to me, I just think my response would be like, well, that don't help at all. Now, to be fair, and I know you are too, we share this trait. I'm very anti-confrontational. So like,
oh God, yeah.
If a lady said that, there's like, this is what I'm looking for help with, and then that's what I got, I'd probably be like, okay, well, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And just like, then, well, you know, I wouldn't press her on it, but in my head, I would be like, well, I mean, that ain't it.
Right.
But I don't think she's just a psychic. I think she's also supposed to be like a medium or something like that. So if you're showing up to talk to her in the first place, you believe already that she has these powers.
Yeah.
So you're probably actually expecting that kind of, you know, input or whatever.
And that's how they
makes
operate.
Perfect sense.
Yeah. That's why being a psychic, like when you got people, it's sort of like how when you're being a comedian's hard, right? It is hard. And like, because the first parts of your career, you're going up in front of people that don't know you, and you've got to win a crowd over, and they don't know you. They're like, you're not Jerry Seinfeld. I don't know you. Make me laugh. And you've got to make them laugh. But then when you like hit and you have fans and you go up in front of your fans, it is insanely easier to do comedy in front of your fans because they came there to see you. They're already bought in. They're with you. I'm not saying you still ain't got to bring it. You do got to bring it, but they'll give you a little bit of grace because they believe in you. Psychics the same way. Like if you got a whole group of people who are like, we believe in psychics, and a psychic says some shit.
And you're a famous psychic too. Right. They believe in psychics already, and you're like a famous one.
Yeah.
Right.
You can say some wild shit, and I'm not saying there's not going to be any skeptics, but if you want to believe something, the human mind, if you want to believe something, bitch, you will believe it.
You're 100%. You're 100% right about that. But let me ask you this, because I know from experience, as you do as well, like, there's another like kind of unforeseen element of like when you have your own fans and your own crowd. If you're a comedian, you start to wonder in your head because of the dynamic you're talking about.
Do I hit?
Right. Like, am I still hitting for real? Or is this just they like me and this is my thing? And so like, is this actually good? Like you have that niggling voice in the back of your head. Like,
what?
I've been watching British TV, and they use niggle very regularly.
That's what my papa used to call their babies, and that did not.
All right. Well, it's a real word. Just so everyone knows. Niggling.
Yeah.
Fears or concerns, or they just
you're right. I just hadn't heard it in a while.
So anyway, you have that in the back of your head as a comedian. It's like, is this fucking hack? And they're just giving it to me. Just like, do you think that like psychics ever have that where they're like, man, I'm really doing the granddad affair thing again?
Right.
Like, is this really landing for these people, or am I just on autopilot right now? Now, I'll answer my own question. I don't think so, because I don't think that those people. Look, let's be honest. Those people are grifters, and I don't think that grifters care about that type of thing.
Right, but I'll say this: like, I'm with you. That's my answer too. They're either grifters or they're someone so insane that they really do buy their own bullshit that they're like, no, I have a fucking thing. I have a thing that everything I say is whatever. It's like it's like the Pope. He's infallible. Anything I say is the word of God, no matter how crazy it is. But I'm certain that there's some people that feel the same way about comedians, that like we don't have any shame, or that we don't think that way.
Well, and plenty of us don't, even
though we
for
do.
The record, there's plenty of comedians who don't.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say his name. I won't say his last name. He got famous. He's super famous. It's a guy named Jeff, and he has puppets and stuff. And like every time I see this motherfucker doing something, I'm like, how do you live with yourself? Like, it's the same shit forever, but it's hidden for everybody. And I think, does he go home and go, God damn it, like they're still eating it up, so I got to do it. I'm a hack piece of shit, but I got to do it. Or does he really think like I'm murdering with the same racist terrorist shit?
Right.
I don't know. But yeah, with those like I'm sure that it's maybe 70-30. We know we're grifting, or I really believe that. Like, maybe, I don't know if those stats are right, but it's crazy to think about. Because I don't know if we talked about it on this show, but you grew up in a haunted house. You're from a Confederate town, which means it's very. I live in another one now.
It's very ghost heavy. Yeah, on Well Read once you said that, in fact, a particular ghost from your family's house followed you to your new haunted house. So I'm asking all that to ask, like, does your mama, for example, does she fuck with mediums? Do you have any experience with mediums or anything? Is your mom into that?
No, she doesn't.
Okay,
she doesn't fuck with them. It's really, you know what? That's crazy, because you would think we as a family, we 100% thoroughly believe in
that your house is haunted and you have ghosts.
That our house is haunted,
but
and that we have had
full
contact. Yeah, because to me, it's like we've never, as long as we've been in that house, we were never able to decipher any of it or speak back to them.
You don't have the
gift
gift show. You don't have the second sight.
Right. Well, exactly. So but you're right, though. It is a ridiculous notion for me to go, I 100% believe in them, that I've had contact with them. However, anyone saying that they could talk to them is a fucking idiot. Sure. Fair. All I'm saying is, when I see them mediums talk, I look at them, and the stuff coming out of their mouths, I've seen the same thing play out in newspaper horoscopes, where it's like, I can see the game.
It's vague enough to be plausible.
And again, this person wants to believe it. They want to believe it.
It still is definitely a skill, though, for the record. Like, they're grifting,
Agreed.
but it's like,
it's magic. It's just like magic.
Yeah, you have to be good at that. It's magic, but magic. Well, I mean, magic is inherently deceitful, but in a whimsical way.
Sure.
Being a medium is deceitful, and I feel like kind of a shittier way. That's just my opinion.
I agree.
Making people think they're talking to their dead mom and stuff. That's not cool. But I do acknowledge it's a skill that you can be good at or not. And I, like you said, I see the game too. I see it where it's like, you keep things purposefully vague enough that it could kind of apply to almost anyone or anything, and people latch onto that. Then they give you more clues to follow, to say additional things. You still have to be good at it, but it ain't for me. However, I will say, as far as grifts go, we used to share an agency, not an agent, but an agency years and years ago with the Long Island medium. And almost 10 years ago, we know from being at the same agency she was at that she was making literally $30 million a year touring, doing live shows.
Just touring.
that's the kind of ticket she was selling. What people were showing up to hear her do her ghost grandma stuff. So
I mean, good for you. And I don't really feel like, I don't know, like if there's like an old Appalachian mamaw who's, didn't have no education and she's a little bit simple or whatever, and you're a medium that's like taking advantage of her and people in her community with all your fucking Horcrux voodoo bullshit talk, like, then yeah, I got a little bit of problem with that. You come into their houses and you giving them false hope about something or whatever. But like, as far as if you sell tickets and people are fine buying a $75 ticket and going out and getting drinks, like, hustle they ass. You know what I mean? Like, do your thing. I don't give a fuck.
Also, I feel inclined to say, just for legal reasons, the scuttlebutt at the time was that was the rumors around the offices we were in was the amount of money she was making per year. We don't actually know.
Yeah, but I'm not mad at her for that. Like,
no, I'm not either. I just didn't want to, whatever reason. She was like, that's not true. They're talking shit.
I mean, she makes that money convincing people that she's can speak to the dead, and I make my money convincing people that I'm funny, even when I'm not sometimes. So, I mean, look, it's just if you can, it's all salesmanship. We're all salesmen. It's just, do you like the product, and is the product of moral quality? And it could be either way on either one.
It
so
could be.
I don't know.
I want to see this British parenting clip.
I know you do.
Should we?
I know you do it.
Do you think we should? Do you think we should take a break?
Let's take a break, and then we'll come right back with this hilarious cinematic portrayal of British parenting in the 40s.
Make this your best season yet with nutritious 2-minute meals from our sponsor, Factor. Y'all know Factor hits for me. They have for a long time now. I'm a big, big fan. I like what they bring to the table, nutritious meals at a convenient pace. That's what hits for me. Eating well has never been this easy before. You just heat it up and enjoy, and it gives you more time to do what you want to do. Get outside during the daytime in the nice weather. Don't spend it all inside prepping and cooking stuff. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, and they're perfect for an active lifestyle. With over 45 weekly menu options, you can pick gourmet meals that fit your personal goals. They have categories like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. Factor powers your day with satisfying breakfast, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, and guilt-free snacks and desserts. It's easy to savor more this spring and summer. Factor meals pack in the flavor, all of it, with none of the fuss. Cho, tell us your personal experience.
Man, number one, I will say that even if it wasn't great food, which it is, I would kind of still love it because I have a child, and at lunch, I just don't have time to make anything worth a dadgum. And it's so easy to just heat and eat. And with this, it's not like getting one of them TV dinners like when I was a kid. Like, this is primo stuff that's awesome. It's also showed me a lot of things that I didn't know I liked. Like, I wasn't aware that cauliflower rice would hit for me as hard as it does. It certainly does. I really like it. And the Protein Plus and keto and stuff, like, it's really nice because I do like a mix and match, because I try my best, because you know how we be. I try my best to have a light, sensible lunch so I can unhinge my jaw at dinner, But when I'm making it myself, like, sometimes I go, well, I'll just put this on. And now I don't know how many calories it is, but with Factor, it's right there on the box. I know exactly what I'm getting into. And again, it's all delicious. I haven't had anything from them that I didn't like. I also love their drinks. They send me these little fruit drinks, which are absolutely awesome. Could not recommend it more, especially if you got kids. So get started at factormeals.com/POA50 off and use code POA50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code POA50 off at factormeals.com/POA50 off for 50% off plus free shipping. You can't afford not to do it. Holler at it, get you some good food, save you some time, and spend the time that you saved on your youngins at the pool. Skew. Y'all, let me tell you about our friends, our brothers over at True Classic, all right? This is my favorite shirt of all time because I just know that I'm going to look good in it. Like most shirts off the rack, I either look boxy or it's too tight on my stomach or whatever, but True Classic, that is not the deal. And if you're shaped like me and Trey, i.e., normal men, it's wonderful. Like, it's as close as I can get to looking like I have a tailored fit. It makes me not look as boxy. It fits on my chest really good, and it doesn't highlight my belly, even though I'm doing a pretty good job of highlighting my belly as it is. Really love it. And it's, it's fine. You're not going out of your budget for this. Like the way I look in these, it seems like I've gone to a tailor, but I ain't. And what really sets them apart, it's not just the fit or the fabric. It is their intention behind everything that they do. They were built to make an impact, whether it's, again, helping us show up and be more confident in our daily lives, or also they be giving back to the undeserved communities and making people laugh with ads that don't take themselves too seriously. You know, like this one where I'm talking about me being a fat boy, right? I've been wearing them for a while now. Matter of fact, I was wearing them before they started sponsoring us, and now pretty much all my shirts are True Classics. It's awesome, great fabric, no bunching, no BS. It's really great. Trey, tell them about True Classic.
Yeah, they hit for me too. It's the main thing. They fit like tightly where you want them to fit tightly. Your like shoulders, your arms, that type of stuff. And they fit loosely where you want them to fit loosely, namely your big old fat gut if you got one. Mm-hmm. Like they're just made to accentuate the hits and downplay the don't hits. That's what they do over at True Classic, which me and Cho as gelatinous blobs certainly appreciate.
Yeah, we don't hit
very highly. So it's time to forget all the overpriced designer brands and ditch disposable fast fashion, because True Classic is built for comfort, built to last, and built to give back. You can grab True Classic at Target or Costco, or our preference, if you don't mind, head to trueclassic.com/POA. That's our own personal code. That's trueclassic.com/POA. Get hooked up today. All right, and we're back, everybody. It's time. Cho queued it up. This is a cinematic representation of British parenting in the 1940s.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know if this is from a movie or not, but Lord God, it really hit for me.
Well, Mummy, tomorrow's my birthday, and I want to go to the circus. And tomorrow's not Margaret's birthday, and she wants to go to the pantomime. My birthday's in June, and there aren't any pantomimes in June.
Circus or pantomime?
Neither. We'll thrash them both soundly, lock them up in the attic, and go to the pictures by ourselves.
Dude, like, okay. I know it was a different time. The past was the past, whatever. And I'm not even saying that I think this. I'm just saying that it's difficult for my brain still, in spite of all that, to believe that that isn't like a sketch or a joke or something.
Well, I mean, it's from the movies.
I know, but it probably isn't. Like, that's probably like played straight. Like, that probably is like meant sincerely. But like from a modern perspective, 80 years later, I'm just like, dude,
I know
that's got to be a bit, right? Which, by the way, it's absolutely fucking hilarious. But
it's great. Well, and even if it was meant as a bit, here's the deal, though. It's being shared by people, because in the comments, everybody's like, you're damn right. That's exactly how it was. Like, even if it is meant to be a bit, the reason it resonates is because enough people who were kids around that time go, yep, that's exactly how it was.
But also, you're right. There's also tons of people, because the Instagram comments are a wasteland. They're wild as hell. Plenty of people being like, yeah, back in the good old days, back when parenting was parenting or whatever. And it's like, look, dude, I don't hit my kids. I don't think you should hit kids at all. If it's a situation where you're like, where a kid is being a real piece of shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know what they need is an ass whooping.
Right.
I'm not going to agree that you should literally whoop a kid's ass. But I could kind of understand maybe where you're coming from. But those kids in that clip were just like, how should we spend all weekend? You know, like that's literally all they were doing. They're like, I thought we'd go to the circus. I thought we'd go to the pantomime. And it's like, quiet, you fucking, here comes the lash. You know, like that's not, I don't care what era it's in. Like that don't seem healthy.
And dude, like it'd be one thing if like we just spent the whole day doing a lot of fun activities and my kid was still like, wait, can we go get ice cream? Can we get, it's like, whatever. But like, I can't wait till Bane's like, can we go to the circus? I'd love to do that. That sounds lovely, you know. But back then, like that era of men, and you know, British especially, like I didn't know this when I was a kid, but growing up watching different British media and also like American shows where a British person is represented, like the men of that era in Britain had a very, you know, show no emotion, stiff upper lip,
and they were like,
keep
calm and carry on, and you know, and it's like. That was a big, huge thing for them culturally, and they were very proud of it. And in a way, I kind of get it because it was tied to the war. They were being bombed every day, and they're like, "Listen, it was a kind of World War II version of like, you can't let the terrorists win type of thing.
Exactly.
Where it's like,
and
listen, we got it right. In that context, I also respect, like, we can't let them get to us. Fuck them. We're going to keep living our lives and doing our thing. As much as they want to bomb us, we're British. We carry on. And I do respect that in and of itself, but it had some sort of cultural fallout that's a little unfortunate, I feel like.
I agree. There's certain things that, like, we look back on them and we go, that's fucked up that they did that. And you go, well, but if you look at the context of when and why they did it, it makes total sense. But it's like, you also have to then learn that, like, we're not in those times anymore. We can grow. Like, we're not at war. We're in peace times. You know what I mean? Like, things can change. We should act different. It's like in the Dark Knight, the Rise of the Dark Knight Rises, the third one.
Dark Knight Rises, yes.
When they're about to get rid of Jim Gordon, they're like, how can you get rid of Jim Gordon? He's a hero. And they're like, yeah, a war hero, but this is peace times.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, that don't matter no more. Times are different. Things are different. We act differently, right? And like now, you know, they're like, back in the day, it was like, you know, easy times make easy men, and easy men make hard times, and hard times make hard men, and that's like that cyclical fucking whatever bullshit or whatever.
It's like, let's get it right. Hard times make hard men, right?
Yeah.
Hard men make good times.
Make
good times
and good
make
times
soft men. Soft men make hard times.
Yeah. But like, you know, so nowadays let's say I've got a kid, you know, which I do, but I'm saying, let's say Bane's old and doing stuff, and like, he's watching TV or he's playing a game, you know, whatever, and they're like, back in my day, some papaws, back in my day, we were out chopping wood and shit, and it's like, yeah, because that's the only way y'all could have a fire. I got gas.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, what do you want me to do? Make him go outside and chop wood for no reason? We don't need the wood. Like, for no reason, he just got to go chop wood. It's like, we don't, but then I'm like, it's like your bit about you don't want to spoil them too much.
Right.
Like, you want them to, because that's how, but like, I don't know. But it's still
it's
fucking
also
funny.
a thing generationally where it's like, every parent worth a fuck, like, wants to give their kids a better and easier life. Like, that's like a central precept of parenting. And everybody agrees with that, or most everybody. But then so many parents, or the generation at large, like you said, resents them for being soft. And it's like, on a larger scale, we talked about before, and on Well Read and stuff, about how, like, so many, at least anecdotally, so many men my age that I know have dads and shit who can do all this dad type stuff or whatever, and we don't have those skills to do these things, right? And it's like, well, that's their fault. Like,
the participation trophy thing was their fault.
And they call us like pussies and shit for it. And participation trophy, we just talked about this on Well Read recently, but it's like, who went and ordered the participation trophies, motherfuckers? Because, like, it wasn't us. We were 9 years old. Like, you're the ones who didn't teach us anything. Yeah. You're the ones who ordered the participation trophies. And then now you're the ones who call us all soft-ass pussies and shit. And it's like, you know, what are you trying to do here?
Dude, one time my dad made fun of me for not knowing how to drive a stick.
Right.
And it was like, how would I know? I said, Dad,
other than you
taught me. I said, you taught me how to drive.
Right.
And he was like, well, it's just these cars nowadays have blah, blah, blah. And I said, but I was like, hold on. The car I learned to drive in was a 1989 GMC Sierra, which did not have power steering, by the way. And this is funny. I didn't know that, but it didn't. And so I just thought, this is how you fucking drive. Mm-hmm. And then when I finally got in a car that did have power steering, I was fucking everywhere, dude. I was like, what the fuck is this? But I was like, Dad, like, if you'd have tried to teach me and I sucked at it, that'd be one thing. Like, go ahead, go off. But like, there was no reason for you to teach me that, because the car I had didn't have a stick. Like, there was no, and also cars just, none of the new cars coming out the lot, there was probably never going to be a time I had to drive a stick. Like, I'm driving an old car, but don't have a stick. And he's like, hey, pussy, can't drive a stick. I'm like, bitch.
Right.
You didn't.
Well, and now it's like, I'm feeling that way. I'm feeling that way about my own sons now that they're getting older, but I'm also like, but I don't know how to do it
either.
You know, I was like, I'm not teaching these things, but I don't know how to do them, you know?
Right.
And
but
like,
that's fine.
And
that's called technological advances. We shouldn't have to know stuff that people in the 80s did, because now we got better stuff.
Right. And on the driving a stick front, you said you have power steering. My first vehicle was an 89 Nissan pickup truck. They didn't even have, it wasn't Nissan Frontier.
That was probably a stick, right?
They didn't even have model names at the time. Nissan was just like, this is our truck, 89 Nissan truck. It wasn't the Frontier, but so 89 Nissan pickup truck. It was both a stick and it had no power steering, no power anything. And like, dude, honestly, this is like a papal take that I have. It's just nostalgia glasses because I started driving, and every 16-year-old is the greatest thing in the world when you start driving. But to me, thinking back on that, it's like that was like active driving. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Like that made driving almost like playing a fucking video game or something. Well, like you were like really doing something when you drove a vehicle that had no power steering and a manual transmission. Like you were actively involved the whole time. And in a way, I kind of appreciate that. Now I live in Los Angeles where the traffic is gridlocked all the time, every minute of every day. So fuck all that. But in a vacuum, I'm like, it's kind of nice. It's like, it makes driving like a real thing other than like something you barely participate in,
Dude, for sure. I mean, my when I had my truck, like it didn't have power steering. It had a bench seat, it stank, the air conditioning. Oh, I love a bench seat too, because that's why relationships were better back in the day, because you could get your girl like that. You know what I mean? In the car. And now you're in your segmented little spots with this fucking little like divorce cupboard.
A pig and or turkey. On
exactly.
This.
Yeah. And you could just get her. You know what I mean? You could just be like, Also, dude, I got laid a lot in that truck because you could bang in those cars. Like you could bang in a bench seat. Mm-hmm. You can't bang in these, like unless you want to give a girl scoliosis, bending her over the goddamn side compartment. Like you can't bang in these new cars, but you could bang in those. Anyways, all right, I got I got another thing. Actually, I got a couple more things. Just depends on what you want to hear. You want to hear? Actually, you know what? We're going to do both. I'm going to do these two in this order because this one I just kind of want to hear because I kind of want this to just be. I want to recut a new theme song for this show using. Like have a beat or something, but like using clips that we've shown on this show.
I love
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of those.
Like we have a beat, and then you got that clip of that little girl going, "It's $9 for an ice cream. They're getting nowhere with that." Right, like that shit. But I listened to this, and I was like, God, we could just play this, and that would just be the show. This is the caption says, "Men before the internet after 3 beers."
6th day we sailed again. How I wish I was in Sherbrooke now. When a bloody great Yankee hove in sight, with our cracked 4-pounders we made to fight. God damn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns, shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier. The last of Irish privateers. The Yankee lay low down with gold. How I wish I was in Sherbrooke now. She was broad and fat and loose in sleeves, but to catch her took the antelope 2 whole days. God damn them all. I was told we'd cruise the seas for American gold. We'd fire no guns, shed no tears. Now I'm a broken man on a Halifax pier, the last of Barrett's privateers. And at length we stood 2 cables away. How I wish I was in Sherbrooke now. Our cracked 4-pounders made an awful din, but with one fat ball the Yanks drove us in.
That is Stan Rogers. You can see here on the screen. That's Stan Rogers, who was a Canadian folk musician and songwriter. So not Irish like I thought he would have been, but I'm certain that is like an old Irish song or whatever. But like, ain't that fucking just this beautiful?
I love that shit, dude. We all have experiences. You're all drunk with your boys, and you start, you're
Dixieland Delight.
Well, I was just, for me and Thompson, it was often "Bring Your Whole Crew" by DMX or whatever, which is slightly different vibe, but still, But also like Wagon Wheel, Dixieland Delight, Rocky Top if you're Tennessee, and that type of shit. Like nothing hits harder than that. But over there, and you said he was, You said he was Canadian, so that throws a bit of a wrench in this.
That don't mean he's not from there.
But over there, across the pond, because this goes also with like sporting events too, and like chants and stuff. They're just so much better at that type of thing about like whatever, like a cappella singing folk songs as a group or coming up with chants and shit.
There's their shit talking
that you get crowds somehow they all get on board with, and they don't just get on board with, but they execute it perfectly.
Yes.
Somehow. And it's like, I'm just
everybody's doing their part.
I'm just so jealous of all that.
Me too,
as
man.
an American, because we don't have any of that. Again, if it's like a popular song that people know and you get people together in the room and you play the song, yeah, they'll all sing it together, but that ain't the same thing. And that thing, we don't really have that here. And it's a bummer. You know, our sporting events would be so much better if we had that type of culture, like the chanting, shit talking culture.
I was about to say, it's the shit talk part, because we do have, like, you know, in Boston, like, they're going to sing Sweet Caroline. You know what I mean? And the whole crowd gets into it.
That's a popular song.
Cool. I know. Right? No, I know. And I'm saying, my point is, like, over there at one point, these were popular songs too. But the thing I'm really trying to get at it is, like, when they're playing soccer and stuff, they'll have a song, and like you said, it is specifically, like, if Ireland is playing fucking England, and they got a fuck England song, you know, and they got a fuck Wales song, and they got a fuck, and they all know it, and it's all like soprano, alto, tenor, bass of just Kendrick Lamar shit talk in Irish prose. That is wonderful.
If they're squad, what do they call their teams? They say team. My side. If their side, if their side is playing another team, another side that there's the other team's star player has just been caught cheating on his wife or something, that morning, if it came out that morning, night at the game, they will have a chant about about how he is a philanderous piece of shit. They will have that ready to go. The whole fucking stadium will hit it together. They'll be in rhythm and be on key and all that stuff. And it's like, it just makes it all so much better. Like we just really need to. That and meat pies are the two things we really need to fucking bring over the Atlantic and adopt over here. I feel like
if our football stadiums were 100% black people in the audience, I think it would already happened. Because they can get together and come up with some shit talk.
I totally agree with that, but dude, the Brits are the whitest people on earth.
I know.
How are they doing it?
I don't know.
You're right. In America, yes. If it was all black people, they could figure it out.
You know why?
But
I think their trash be going to games, and over here we have just completely eliminated trash from sports because the tickets are too expensive. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And and I'm not saying you're trashy if you sing a song shit talking. It's just that trashy people, that's what we do because we ain't got nothing better to do. Like this, this our whole life. And nowadays, it's like, okay, sure. Nowadays with Reddit and with social media, someone on our, Royal Madrid can go, this is what we're going to do tomorrow. Everybody join in. But they was doing this shit in the 90s and 80s. When, like,
I know.
It's like, where you meeting at? Like all these, it's different pubs and they have a town crier that goes to every pub and goes, here's a fucking song like this.
Here's what we're going to do.
Tell them to eat shit, put it up their arse. It's unreal.
It's awesome.
It's amazing. And no, like I said, we've talked about this before where I'm like, when we're at our campfires and stuff, like everybody knows Dixieland Delight and it's fun. Like when everybody in unison sings that, but, and those like Dixieland Delight, sure. That's about a region that we're proud of. Dixie. I know we're not supposed to call it Dixie anymore, but like, that's about our region. That's very culture or whatever. But we don't have any that are like, you know what's like when Irish people sing about war stuff, they're in the right, and we, as Southerners, we're not. Like, we can't sing an old Confederate song.
No,
definitely not. But they can, like, we can't do that shit. Maybe that's it.
Well, like, we're also,
we've never been on the right side of a war.
Well, no, America
in
has
World War
been
II.
On the right side of wars. But we're young too, and it's like even like the Revolutionary War. It's like what fucking Yankee Doodle Dandy or whatever. Like everybody knows that, but you're not going to join up with your boys around the bonfire drunkenly hollering Yankee Doodle Dandy and shit,
And two, like the thing is, like that's a song talking
shit about us, but
right?
we like reclaimed it. It was like an early version of reclaiming it, right?
Yes, and we did have songs from that era that I'd have to look up, but I've seen them before of us talking shit about the Brits. But the thing is that like now we're cool with the Brits. Like they're our ally and stuff. We'll make fun of them, but like we don't openly hate them because, well, I mean, some people do, but like they're our allies now. Ireland and Scotland and them, like they still very much hate them motherfuckers. Mm-hmm. So them songs still resonate. Like the England Britain or England is still actively oppressing those people. They ain't doing shit to us. You know what I mean? Like, so we're just like, why would we even say anything? Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we whipped their ass. So we're like, you know what, hell, let bygones be bygones.
Right. Like, dude, if Drake goes to prison, Kendrick will probably shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, that'd be like, all right.
He's a generational hater. He's right up there with fucking 50 Cent, dog.
I mean, honestly, you're lyrically, yes, but like he's still got a long road to hoe before he gets to 50 Cent level. I mean, 50 Cent, bruh, I mean, I'm sure I mentioned this on some episode, but like 50 Cent has reached out to like the Trump administration. Like, if you dare pardon Diddy, I'm gonna fucking, it ain't happening. Like, that motherfucker's going to jail. And it's funny because like everybody else that's talked shit about Diddy in the rap community, everybody's been like, they're a snitch, fuck them, snitch, rat. But 50 did it and they were just like, you can't respect the hate. You know what I mean? He hates that much. And by the way, almost everybody that 50 hates, got damn good reason to. They don't hit. Right. Like he exclusively, like, he hates for the people. You know what I mean? He's the people's hater. Yeah. He is. He's the people's hater. Yeah. He's like the Rock of hate. Yeah. He's the people's hater. It's absolutely fantastic. All right. So this is, I wanted to do these in this order because this is also in line with singing. But after this clip, I actually have a little history about this. So I wanted to save it till the end.
Lovely.
Yeah, it is lovely. And I don't think if you have seen this, please just pretend that you haven't.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. This is something that I don't believe. Oh, fuck me. I don't believe we've ever talked about on the show to any type of extent. But I think we should have. And that is the Castratos.
Yeah.
We've never done an episode
on the Castratos. We've done an episode.
We've mentioned them.
I remember I think this is when it came up early on. I talked about opera. Soap opera versus regular opera.
They came up.
And we talked about Castratos briefly, I think. But we haven't gone in depth on them, no.
Well, I've been a little context on why. I saved this a while back, but I remembered it yesterday because I'm doing a rewatch of Game of Thrones. So naturally, Varys being a eunuch and also the Unsullied, it sort of clicked in my brain about, like, obviously that's in a fictitious world, but that really was like a real thing. So this is a vocal coach, and this is Eva Teaching Opera. I want to shout her out because it's a great follow on Instagram. Explains the last castrato singer in history. And, by the way, this is the only castrato from that time that was ever actually recorded. So we're actually about to hear a true castrato sing. So here we go.
This is the voice of Alessandro Moreschi, the last known castrato singer. And the only
she legit
was ever recorded. His voice sounds fragile, almost ghostly, right? What I have to say is that he wasn't young anymore when these recordings were produced. Why were boys with beautiful voices castrated from the 16th to the 19th century? Preserve the angelic tone. The result was the power of a man with the range of a boy. How did it start? The practice began.
All right, I don't want to hear her do any of that because I'm about to say some of the similar stuff. I just wanted you to hear his voice, which, I would also describe as angelic. It is beautiful.
But and I don't know if this is my brain automatically doing a contextual assessment or whatever, but like I hear that and it honestly don't hit for me.
It's right.
Like I hear that and I'm like, this is not worth what y'all are doing. Like,
that's how I feel about Veal. That's how I feel about Veal.
This is a banger for fucking for y'all. Like this, like I just don't. We all know the past was wild, but the idea that everybody agreed culturally, they agreed for centuries that lopping off little boys' twigs and berries and stuff in order to preserve that. Like that was worth it. It's like I don't see it. Now, to be fair, I like metal music where a Viking motherfucker growls about Odin and Asgard and stuff. So,
but they got to give you extra balls to do that.
That's what I'm saying. I know. I'm saying maybe it's because I'm such a Sigma male, lone wolf type of guy who likes this very manly sort of music and things that only true alphas understand. Maybe it's because of that. But whatever the case may be, I don't, even really understand the appeal of what they were going for there.
Right.
Let alone what they had to do to accomplish it. But hey, you know, I'm not a spaghetti person, so far be it from me.
Yeah. Well, while I definitely 100% agree with you, I will just to, you know, the only thing that gets played on TV now is sports talk where people are arguing and combating. So I'll pull my Stephen A card here and play devil's advocate on there.
We should chop little boys' balls off. You're right. If things sound good,
No.
You're right.
No, not that. Not that. Not that. Because even though, like, dude, what you just said, like, I made the joke a minute ago, but it is truly how I feel. Like I said, this is the same thing. The same way I feel about veal, right? Whereas, like, everybody talks about how veal is amazing. Like, oh, it's great. And, like, if you know the process for veal, it's like they killing a baby cow, don't even get a life. Like, this cow was born, don't even let it, just so they can kill this baby cow, and the meat's supposed to be wonderful.
Yeah, me in a past life. We covered it earlier.
Right.
I was veal.
Yeah, I've had veal several times at different establishments of various star ratings.
Places that otherwise hit, right? Places that do hit.
In my opinion, enough to go, okay, right. I think I know what veal is. Yes. Like, if you just have it once, it's like you could have a bad time. But I've had it enough to where I go, I think I know what this is. And I'm here to tell you, not good enough for me. Like, not worth it to me.
I completely 100% agree. I've
got a grown cow.
I've got I got spaghetti places that I think are great and everything that they do. And I've had their veal and I've had veal at plenty of other places. I'm like, I don't see what all the fuss is about. And so fine. Because of that,
I don't hate it.
Right. It don't not hit, but it's worth
frankly,
this kind of fucking like, and maybe digging in your heel. This is the hill you want to die on is for this. Like, it don't.
Yeah.
It's not. It ain't all that.
And maybe it's just like how in my normal life, like, yeah, when I was younger, it's like when I was going to look at porn, it was like co-eds and stuff like that. And now that I'm a grown man, I'm like, I want to see me a beat up, fucking stretch mark, bore out bitch. I like an old cow is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Like, when I get a steak, like, I don't want it to be I want it to be a fat ass cow that's lived a good life and because when you a veal, you ain't got that marble. You know what I mean? You ain't had time to get that marble. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need a cow with some life experience that you can taste in it. But I feel that way about veal. But here's the thing. I'm going to go back on you in this. You go, I just don't understand if it was worth it. I don't understand. Like, why are they, to achieve this, what are they doing? Well, there's a big reason for why they did it. And I'm not going to tell you right now. It'll come up but think Shakespeare plays. Right? Think Shakespeare play.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
I think I get it already.
Don't say it. But right. So what is a castrato? So a castrato, obviously, as you know, was a male singer who was castrated before puberty to preserve the high vocal range, which could be either a soprano, an alto, which I knew these two, but I didn't know mezzo soprano. I think that like a super soprano, and the result was it was a singer that had the lung power and chest cavity of a grown man, but the vocal cords of a boy, because apparently your vocal cords and your balls is like
testosterone. Well, that makes sense. You go through puberty and your voice changes,
and your voice cracks.
So if you halt puberty, your voice isn't going to change.
Yeah. It's crazy that they figured that out and was like, this is what we're going to do. So in the early Christian church, women were banned from singing in choirs or performing in churches.
Right.
Much like how, I don't think I mentioned this on the show, but I sent you in text, like Ian McKellen caught a little bit of shit on the internet because he's producing a Shakespeare. I don't know if it's, I can't remember which Shakespeare play it is. I think it's Macbeth or something. And he's only using transgender and gay people to play the roles, and everybody's like all furious. And me, having been someone who's read up on Shakespeare history, who not only for this show but has also read Bill Bryce's
this
book,
is authentic as it could be.
I was like, if all y'all are like, we should only do things the way they were originally meant to be, then they are, because back in the day, women weren't allowed to be in Shakespeare's place, so boys had to play the woman role. So, like, even if you fall under that's not a biological woman thing, man, fuck you, you're kind of out. But yeah, they weren't allowed to do it, but they still wanted those high parts. So originally, boys would do it, or men using a falsetto voice, right? Which we've all, I'd say the most famous falsetto singers of all time, unless you know Italian opera or whatever, To me, it's like the Beach Boys. I think of the Beach Boys, right? That, wouldn't it be nice? Well, that's not real. Like, that's not anyone's range. You know what I mean? Like, that's just someone presenting, and that's falsetto. But what they learned with the falsetto, since it's fake, they didn't have that sustained power. You know what I mean? Because eventually that's going to give out because you're doing something that doesn't naturally fit your chest range and your vocal range. So, like, they were like, only boys can do this, right? And so the early precedents for this was like a lot of evidence suggests that Byzantine, is that how you say it? Byzantine?
I've always said it. I've always said Byzantine, but I don't know for sure that that's correct.
So a lot of evidence suggests that actually Byzantine and Islamic courts used eunuch singers before Europe did. So the Muslims was ahead of the game on chopping dicks off and making boys sing real high.
Checks out.
That said, it does check out, but hey, off top, name me 5 Muslim banger songs. What the fuck they sing? I ain't never, like, I've heard Roman Catholic songs. I've heard all this shit that I don't even follow, but like, I don't know no fucking Muslim choir song.
I mean, well, they definitely be singing. They just don't.
Yeah, but
they just don't land over here, I think.
I mean, I've seen the beginning of the movie Three Kings. I know they have music. You know what I mean?
Right.
But every time you hear it in Hollywood, it just starts out, it's a sitar that goes,
right. And then
they
a warbler. Yeah, right.
Yeah, they
just, warbler.
But I don't hear, and I guess that warbler is a boy with his dick cut off. I don't know. But Renaissance Italy is where the practice of castrato like really took root and flourished. And I assume when we say that, it's because that was a more recorded era of history. Maybe the Muslims weren't writing it down as much. In the Renaissance, obviously, they had all the dudes that, do this. And so people were writing about the castratos. I mean,
yeah, I think it also could just be our own like sort of cultural bias where it's like we be Western. So like we've talked before a lot about how like China did so much crazy shit. China was so far ahead of the West on so many things, but us as well, all of us in the West, like growing, we don't know that, or we learned that at a late age. You're not taught that. Right. And it's like, but they were doing it. We're just not told it. We're just only told about and it's like, it could be a similar thing with like the Muslim world or whatever. I don't know that. I'm just saying that could be the case.
I think you're right. And like, that's kind of a double-edged sword, because it's like, on one hand, they don't get the credit for originating certain things that they clearly did. But on the other hand, they don't get shit talked as much for doing horrible things that they were like, I'm just saying, like, no, I mean,
in this particular context,
current day ones absolutely do. Current day ones absolutely do. But it's kind of like how we talk. It's similar to we talk about World War II, where we're like, Japan kind of gets off the hook for that. Yeah. Well, in the ancient times, like all we talk about is European colonization.
Right.
Bruh. The Khans and the Chinese and all them motherfuckers, like, they was the kings of that shit, but it was like we didn't learn about it in school, and a lot of it was before recorded history, so it was like a lot of he said, she said.
The Ottomans, Turks, and like the caliphates, the Muslim caliphates and stuff, the Persians, they did a lot of that.
Huge pieces of shit.
Like, and I just said, I'm not even sure. I think the Persian
Empire don't matter,
was
generalize, baby.
I'm just saying, that's another thing. It's kind of like, in keeping with what you're talking about, it's almost like misogyny.
Yeah.
That's just a universal constant across all cultures in American history is like conquest. It's men, dude. It's just dudes. It's like we got to spread our influence and our seed and everything. It's like every single fucking culture that developed independently in human history was presided over by men. That's like the only thing they all have in common is that women were subjugated, right? Because they could be for physiological differences. That's my theory, at least. And then
it's 100% true.
Right. Yeah. We've talked about that before, about how if you read the book Sapiens, he talks about how like that is true, but no one knows why. And it's like, that's gotta be why, right? Like what other reason is there? But then, but also B, like how life itself wants to like spread and go on and reproduce, like human civilizations also across the board. Well, not across the board, but like the big ones, the ones that hit, they conquer. It's what they try to do. And I think it's at least connected to the fact that they are run by men. And that's a part of men's whole like biological imperative and mentality is like, that's what you're supposed to do. So yeah, they've all been doing that shit.
And that's why like I totally understand like the like non-binary situation. Like if you look through time at what a man is supposed to be, and you're like, this is what a man is supposed to be, right? And then I think about myself and you, right? Me and you would be the worst conquistadors ever.
Man, because like period, frankly.
Yeah, because like as soon as I have enough,
right?
I go, just give me a book and we'll just stay here and hit for a while. Leave me alone. Right. And like it goes with like, I mean, like me and you've always talked about the one good lick doctrine.
Right.
Like, but like so many of these dudes, like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Jay-Z, fucking Diddy, all these people, dude, they have hit 100 to 1,000 times the one good lick that we would have liked. They hit that lick almost every day. And they still keep going to do these things. Whereas me and you, I'm not saying we wouldn't continue to do our art or whatever, but we wouldn't be like, I got to buy a fucking record company.
Well,
like we wouldn't.
Joe,
we'd be like,
to be fair to people like Diddy and Hitler, to be fair to them, you and I have never experienced what it feels like to
have nothing.
To hit that
That's
kind
true.
of lick. What if that shit is psychological heroin, right? What if it's like that's the only thing that gets you out of bed in the morning?
You know, that's true because
conquering and wrecking other people. Now, me as a fucking, the commie queer that I am, I'm going like, oh, that means you're a sociopath. And maybe it does, but I've never been put in that position. Like that's what I think, but I've never been tested on that. Like,
no, you're 100% right. Because you're 100% right. Because I've seen like videos of like, and I'm not trying to be funny here, but like truly people who really come from bad backgrounds, who don't have nothing. I mean, pot to piss in, right? And it's one of them internet videos where like someone's like, if I gave you this amount of money, what would you do? You know what I mean? And like they've said an amount of money that I've been paid for one project, and this person's like, I'd never have to worry about it. I'd never let this, and I'm like, oh shit.
Trust me, that don't do it.
To some people, I have hit that lick, and yet here I am. You know what I mean? So yeah, I get it. But also back in those days, like yes, the misogyny and stuff was real, and obviously things have been like sugar coated through history. But like if you read a lot of things, like there was definitely misogyny, but there was still more respect for the women back then in certain places than there is now. Like a lot of dudes now go, fucking woman's place is in the kitchen. That's all she's good for, whatever. But back then they would be like, a woman is such a great provider of nutrients and all this stuff, and that is her place, but because she is great at it and she plays an essential role in this. Like it was all teamwork. So it wasn't like, the man is better because he hunts. It was the man hunts and the woman does this, and it was equal. We were like, yes, the woman does this is what the man does. That's what we're good at. But the woman is just as important as the man because the man can't do the thing. He's not motherly like her.
Where are you talking sort of like about?
I'm talking about
places
like
where women were equal in the past.
I'm not saying they were completely equal. I'm saying they weren't. Their position wasn't as degraded, and it was seen as important.
I think that's the type of thing like we've talked about before when I did the Petticoat affair and talking about Andrew Jackson. I was like, look, Andrew Jackson's a nightmare, don't get me wrong, but he was a known defender of women. That was like a part of his reputation. But we talked about how like it's still almost kind of a misogynist in that whole like, oh, they are delicate princesses who must be protected at all costs type of thing. So it's like they're not mistreated, but they are still like condescended to, or however you want to put it.
I'm not saying they weren't condescended to, but they weren't.
They were not equal, dude. Is what I'm saying.
No, I didn't say equal.
Okay.
I said I didn't say equal. I said their position wasn't degraded as much. Like it wasn't all she does is this. Like, they weren't equal, but they were like, this is still a very important thing that they do, and we're happy to have it because it balances out. Nowadays, that ain't, men are just like, fucking, hell, we got microwave shit. I don't even need her to cook. You know what I mean? We could pretty much just do without them if we didn't, But like, Indians, for instance. I don't think Indians was about that life. Like, like Native Americans and shit.
Oh, okay.
Like
those Indians.
You know what I mean? Like, if you, Native American Indians, like, I really do feel like you don't read a lot about misogyny in their world because it's like, the dude was out with a spear killing the boar, but like the woman, like a lot of times they name the kids after the woman because the woman was like the head of the thing because she was motherly and matronly. So maybe it's just Indians. They are like, and we the best fucking group of human beings to ever exist on this earth. And then Andrew Jackson, Jackson fucked the whole system up. Anyways, all right, back to Castratos. How did it happen? The operation would occur before puberty. They would try to get them between ages 7 and 9, which like is funny because like you also like they also need to have to be able to sing. It'd be a shitty thing if they just crushed a kid's balls and turned out he couldn't sing.
Yeah, but I'm sure they were doing that. I mean, dude, Michael Jackson was in the Jackson 5 at fucking 5 years old or whatever. I'm sure they were doing that back then. I mean, in fact, that was like a long-standing urban legend, right? Was that Michael Jackson was a castrato.
I believe it.
That's what people said about him. Yeah.
Dude, I believe it because none of his brothers sound like that. Like at all. Like they all have a deep voice. Now, granted, have you seen those clips of like Michael Jackson using his real voice?
No.
Have you seen this?
Mm-mm.
Okay, while I'm talking, Google Michael Jackson using his real voice, and I want you to share it because some shit will come up that will blow your mind. That was all just to put on. Anyways, the testes were removed or, and this is hard to hear, crushed. So sometimes they chop them off, but sometimes they would just smash them with a hammer.
Why do that? Just look.
It just cut them off.
Just cut them off. You ought not do that, but if you're going to do one or the other, just cut them off. My God.
Do you think it was just like they were like, oh, damn, I forgot my scissors, but I've got my mallet?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I don't know, maybe.
Like,
I've got this Michael Jackson thing. Do you want me to show it now?
Well, yeah, share it. Yeah, Michael Jackson using his real voice.
All right. First of all, obviously, I didn't even know what you were talking about. I just Googled it. This was the top video response. Fine. So I have not vetted or watched this.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Remembered Michael Jackson's voice sounding.
It's a hard situation. It is. And it's something I have to put up with.
But Michael played us. That voice we're used to was one he created for his pop star persona.
Mm-hmm. Michael Jackson's voice that you hear all the time, like that, he wasn't talking like that. Like it was like low-key deep.
So finally, after a couple of hours, almost the Brazilian officials leave, Spike leaves, and Michael just sitting there with my friend. He said, at a certain point, Michael looked up and said, "Damn, I thought those motherfuckers weren't gonna never leave." Now, and he says, hold up, and he says this not in, damn, I don't think these motherfuckers will never leave. He says it like a black man would say, damn, I thought the motherfuckers were gonna never leave. Then he got up and walked out. And my friend was saying, he was sitting there like,
There's not many recordings or videos of Michael using his real voice, but there is one. In 1999, Michael allowed Midway to use his likeness and voice in Ready to Rumble Boxing, in which he opted to use his actual voice for his character.
So you be bad, huh? I don't move over for no one. They call me the king of pop.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dance all over you. Don't take up with the king of pop.
Okay.
I've heard a lot of similar stories about that, which now throws my castrato shit out the window.
Well, let me go ahead and say, and this is not me saying that Michael Jackson was a castrato, but that game, I had that game on Dreamcast. That game hit really hard, just so everybody knows.
It did hit. I had it too.
I don't know how this all worked. Maybe actually, I don't know. This might be very stupid what I'm about to say. So I should stop because I don't do that.
Dare not say it on this show.
Right. Yeah. But to me, I feel like that voice, he's doing a boxing game.
Sure.
So I would argue
and he decided to be manly.
I would argue that like maybe if he's doing a boxing game that maybe he made the choice to artificially deepen his voice. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like his real voice is like that, but he's like, this is a boxing game. So he's faking, because we all know he had range, right? So he's faking the manly boxer voice, you know.
Sure.
I feel like that's at least on the table.
I agree. But if you think about it in one way, it's like, let's say hypothetically we're throwing Castrato out the window, right?
But also, can Castrato even do that physically?
I don't know.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't know.
Are they physiologically capable of faking that type of voice?
Faking a deep voice.
Maybe they're not.
So let's throw Castrato out the window and just say that he was faking it, right? That would make sense because Jermaine, all them motherfucker, like the only person he sounds like in his family is Janet, who is a woman, right? And I had heard the theory from one dude, it wasn't in that clip, that this one dude was talking about he was like friends with Quincy Jones or something, and he was on like a Cat Williams run of just like exposing the truth or whatever. And his whole thing was, he said the reason Michael did it was because Michael, he performed almost every night. He was always performing, and aside from just the tea and honey and stuff, he wanted to protect his voice. So he always just kind of talked like this, because when you talk like this, you're not actually using your vocal cords that much. Like, you're just using your mouth. And they go, he did that, and then that just kind of became his thing, and so he just always did that. And I can buy that. You know what I mean?
I can buy that
it's like,
too, yeah.
I've never heard another motherfucker ever sound like him.
The case that he was an actual Castrato. I don't want to come across that way.
Right.
But
I'm saying, but with everything you know about Joe Jackson, it wouldn't fucking blow my mind.
No, I
But
agree.
it's wild that he didn't cut the other kid's balls like he just did it to Michael. You think he'd have
well,
done it to
maybe he
everybody.
identified him as like, this is the dude. This is the one.
Well, he was right.
You know,
He was right.
You gotta say what you will
You want
about
Joe
Senor Jackson. But
Boy.
he sure did nail that one.
Yeah. So technically, this was actually illegal. Castration for musical purposes was officially illegal in many places, including the Papal States, where it was used most likely. But it was also just very tolerated. It was like a wink-wink situations where, like, also it's like, you can't put that genie back in the bottle. You know what I mean? What you gonna do?
Right.
So
I think a lot of things in the past
this
were like that in that era of like, because I've been reading this book that's set in like the 1300s in England, and
what's it called?
I've actually been meaning to tell you about it, but
I've been looking for a new book.
It's the second book in Ken Follett's series. It starts with the Pillars of the Earth, but I'll text you about it later.
Okay,
but it's
please do, because I'm about to go to the beach.
It's historical fiction. I've been meaning to tell you, Cho, you need to read this because I think you'll love it.
That's my shit.
But anyway, I've just been in a part where this minor lord rapes a peasant, and he goes,
"Oh, that's good."
He rapes a peasant girl, and now he's getting put on trial, and he's about to be hanged for it or whatever. And in my head, I was like, they didn't do that, right? Like a lord could totally just rape any peasant he ever wanted to, right?
That's why,
but the book,
that's why you a lord,
but it's one of those things where it's like, I think that it was like against the law, but it almost never got, or it very often didn't get enforced, because like
that's how I
the
felt
people
about
had to
sexual
enforce it
harassment
were
in
the
Hollywood.
overlords. The people had to enforce it were the overlords, and they were like, I'm not gonna take the side of a fucking illiterate peasant over my cousin
class
or whatever, this minor lord.
Of course.
And it was their decision to make. So it's like, it was illegal. It just didn't matter most of the time. And that's, I think the Castrato thing, it sounds like it was kind of like that. Like,
well, I mean, that's how I felt about when everybody, and for the record, I'm for these people getting in trouble. But when I heard about like the Me Too thing happened, and aside, like, not the rape, obviously that's a literal, like, actual, not only a 10 commandment, but like a huge fucking crime, but like just the sexual harassment and stuff like that. They're like, yeah, all these Hollywood producers are sexually harassing. And I was just like, yeah, I was like, that's why they became Hollywood producers, to do that. Like, we all just knew it was going on, but it's just like, that's just the game. You know what I mean? Obviously it's wrong, but yeah, back then it was like, why the fuck would some high priest or whatever, they're going to curry favor with a lord, not a peasant girl who has no fucking pedigree at all. Like, that's crazy.
Exactly. Yes. If you're a bishop or something, and you're supposed to speak for God and whatever. But if you're in this position where a woman has told you she's been violated, and that goes against the word of the Lord, in reality, you're still going to side with the, your feudal lord, the earl, or the, because like that will matter more.
They're the ones that could take your shit away.
Right.
Yeah. They're the ones that
so
can take your
even though
shit
that's
away.
not what's right, that's still what you do, because that's just the way things work. And it's like, that's honestly, that's one of those, like, the more things change, the more they stay the same type of thing.
It's the exact same
like,
nowadays.
It still effectively works that way, which don't hit.
Of course it does.
It's true.
No, it don't hit, but it's also one of those things where you're like, honestly, how could it not work that way?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
The only people who are in positions to change that directly benefit from the way that works.
Yes.
So there's no incentive.
It's a give and take thing.
Right. Yeah.
Like they can't it's fucked up, but you see all these like politicians where they're like, oh, well, they're not, like, hypothetically the Epstein files or whatever. It's like, well, they're not going to release this because their people are on it. And it's like, yeah, of course. Like that's fucked up. But like, of course they're not, because it would fuck them over, and they are still human beings.
Right.
And human beings only give a fuck about themselves. Period. Throughout they only care about themselves and their family and their line. Like, that's it. Like, so even if you were to attempt to change that, it would still never change, because as long as the common denominator is human beings, it's never going to be good.
Right.
Here's the thing. It wasn't just the church doing this, though. Like, it wasn't just like these kids were in the choir. This is funny because this is kind of like Joe Jackson. Another group of people that did it, desperate parents who were poor, hoping that their son would become a star and provide a source of income. We're just chopping their kids' balls off.
Dude, this is insane, because right before this, I recorded a Patreon episode of Weekly Skews, my political podcast. And Smart Mark, was talking about how they're trying to pass a law in Wisconsin where it's like, whatever gender is on your birth certificate, that's what you have to play sports as, no matter what, right? And he was like, how long before some guy has a boy and marks girl on the birth certificate, because their narrative is a boy who plays girl sports is guaranteed to become a superstar, right?
Course.
Like, if you got a boy and you're like, he ain't going to make it in boy sports, but if I just say he's a girl, he'll crush it in girl sports, because all you got to do is be a man and you'll smoke all these bitches, right? Like, that's what they think. Like, how long before that happens? So, like, it's crazy you bring that up, that there's a historical precedence for that.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because I was going to make that, not argument, but like that point of, like, again, the more things change, the more that they stay the same. And what's unfortunate is that, like, obviously just cutting your kids' balls off is not a guaranteed way to make them hit. You know what I mean? Like, obviously all of them didn't. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, I bet that the kids that didn't make it, the parents were probably still really good to them and helped them out to find another trade. Nah, they were just discarded and left to rot in anonymity, because they weren't men, but they couldn't sing, so they was worthless to the world. Estimates say that 4,000 boys plus per year in the 17th and 18th century got their dicks cut off, and only a very teeny tiny fraction of them became stars. So it was mostly just, little boys got their dicks cut off. And like nowadays, the comp is like, you make your kid do travel ball, and you scar them, and they have that fucking, if I don't do this, I'm nothing. But they still get to, like, go on and live their life with their balls in their dick, and sort of do whatever. But yeah, that's Castratos. That's kind of them. That's kind of their whole thing.
Hell of a thing. Welcome to the past. It's how the past be.
It don't hit. I do have some airmail.
Past don't hit.
No, the past don't hit.
Have better sex with Blue Chew. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex right now. Starting right now, Blue Chew's offering a combo so strong it's going to knock your socks off and your neighbor's socks off. Am I saying you're going to be porking your neighbor? Not necessarily. I'm just saying you're probably going to have to move to the next town over on account of all the noise you're going to be making in your neighborhood, knocking them boots, boy. Blue Chew Max has arrived, and it combines the active ingredients of Viagra and Cialis into one convenient chewable. This new combo acts fast and it lasts, baby. So guys, be ready when she needs it. Get your first month of Blue Chew for free. That's right, I said FREE Free, baby. Great sex is just a few clicks away when you sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew's tablets are made right here in the U.S. of A., prepared and shipped directly to your door, which is the best part of the whole thing. You do it entirely on the computer, on the internet, which means no more visits to the doctor's office and having awkward wiener conversations. No more waiting in line at the pharmacy, running into your old librarian when you're picking up your wiener pills. You ain't got to do none of it. Cho, it hits for you.
Oh, it's hit super hard for me. People always ask me about, does it work? And I'm like, it makes my dick harder than knocking your neighbor's socks off using the centrifugal force of your own wiener. You know what I mean? That's pretty hard, y'all. I've been using them for a long time. I mean, they've been sponsoring us for a very long time, and I've been using them the whole time. And the thing is, a lot of people are like, it ain't nothing wrong with my wiener. My wiener fine. It's like, okay, that's fair. But to me, it's just like, you could work out without taking creatine, but if you take creatine, you're going to get a better workout, and you're going to know for a fact that you're getting everything you can out of it. It's about confidence. It's about going in there and knowing I'm about to throw it down. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you have to take it every time, but on the anniversary, when it's her birthday, when you've made her mad about something, you want to go in there with the Babe Ruth stick. You know what I'm saying? And knock that sumbitch out of the park. And I love the fact that it comes in a discreet package, because I know my pharmacist, and I ain't wanting to have to explain everything I just said to y'all to her. It's absolutely wonderful. There's nothing sexier than confidence, and this will give you that confidence. So make life easier by getting harder, and discover your options at BlueChew.com. And we got a special deal for our listeners. Try your first month of Blue Chew free when you use promo code POA. You just got to pay $5 shipping. That's it. It's promo code POA. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. We thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast. Skew.
You
want to hear some airmail?
Yeah, airmail. Let's do it.
This is specifically for you, Trey. This is
good.
Subject line: sleep don't hit, but it should.
Okay.
Modafinil experiences. Modafinil experiences for Trey. Hello, Trey. Corey, too.
I'm excited about this.
Longtime listener, first-time writer into the virtual Airstream / well-read / universe. I listened to this morning's. You're about to laugh at me. I listened to this morning's episode of Well Read titled "Well Read for Audio." That's because when I was uploading it, I forgot to put a title in because it was. I don't know if y'all know this, but just to give you some how the sausage is made. We record Well Read on Tuesdays, and then my wife goes straight to work, and then I edit it when my wife gets back from work at like 10:15. So a lot of time when I'm going to title it, I'm like, and I'm just doing it like this. And I clearly just forgot to put the title on your YouTube, and usually I copy and paste it, but I didn't. So sometimes it just shows up as the file name. And this is actually the least embarrassing that it could have been, because like every now and then it's just like the new Well Read episode, Booger age 33. You know what I mean? Some bullshit like that, just because I'm an idiot. And it was Trey talking about his sleep troubles. I suffer from something called idiopathic
hypersomnia.
Yep. And I had to do all the fun and hella.
Man.
Is this what you have?
Or woman? Yeah. Well, keep going. I'll tell it all at the end. Yes.
I had to do all the fun and hella expensive sleep study stuff. I just wanted to say that Modafinil was a very solid med for staying awake until it wasn't. As Corey and Drew alluded to, a true stimulant hits much harder for the staying up and getting shit done. After proving failure on Modafinil, then Modafinil, because that's how going to the doctor works. You have to go through all the mid stuff before they give you the good stuff, which I've talked about a bunch. They finally put me on a very low dose of Addy, and it's life-changing. That being said, Modafinil caused me to lose my goddamn mind. It caused crazy anger issues to an otherwise calm Southern lady and terrible depressive symptoms. It didn't hit, so keep an eye out for that if it's a route you end up on.
I said when you started, I'm so excited, my man, and I started to say, or my lady, whatever the case may be, ended up supremely not hitting for me because, yes, it's wild. Literally just today, because I've been going through this whole journey with my sleepiness problem, my chronic fatigue problem, and just this very day, I was reading on the internet about idiopathic hypersomnia, which we were talking about on Well Read about how, like, I'm on a CPAP and it's not helping. I'm doing this ENT stuff and it's not helping. And basically what that means is I have idiopathic hypersomnia, which just means like you just don't hit, right?
Yeah.
Like no, like you literally just can't sleep the way sleep or be slept.
Yeah.
You just can't do it. And doctors don't even know what causes it, right? And it's like all they can do is give you a stimulant to counteract it. And I was saying that on Well Read, it's like it's going to be some kind of speed. And and I didn't even want, because I'm a bit of a party boy.
Yeah, boy, we like to throw down.
I'm familiar with Adderall, and I didn't until this email, I didn't want Adderall because I don't trust. I'm from a family of fucking.
Well, we can get that from anybody.
Yeah, but it's also like I'm just, I'm from a family of fucking drug addicts and shit, and I just don't.
You could get Adderall from them, so why get it from a
Adderall
doctor?
Hits.
Yeah. Oh, right.
And I know it hits. And I'm worried about that. And I'm aware of the existence of Modafinil. And in my head, I was like, Modafinil is like Adderall, but without the party parts, like the parts. It just keeps you awake without making you feel like,
yeah. And the is what hits.
The is what hits.
Yeah.
But I'm worried about that.
You're worried about the
I was like, Modafinil. So in my head today, I was like, Modafinil, that's what I need. That's what's up. And so this...
Isn't it funny?
This email being like, Modafinil made me lose my mind and get even more depressive than I thought was previously possible. And I was like, good. Great. Well, I'm looking forward to all that, but I'm still on my journey.
I love how she
says journey.
I love how she says, keep an eye out for that if that's a route you end up on. Like, how often have you listened to this show to not know that Trey Crowder spars with the void? You know what I mean? Anyways, P.S. All the podcasts you do are all amazing and have brought so much joy and laughter to my life. Signed, a fellow liberal redneckish Southern lady who is perpetually sleepy. You can use my name if you find this read worthy. Mel. Love y'all. Bye. Thank you, Mel, for that. That was very delightful. Okay, here we go. One more. This is okay. Subject line. You didn't react to my email from, this is all in all caps. You didn't react to my email from 3 years ago, so whatever, don't react to this one either. Good day, mates.
Here we go.
Good day, mates. Did my reverse psychology work? Anyways, just kept catching up on old episodes and listening to Mark Twain and poop knives. And as a word nerd, I perked up when you two blokes were talking about the etymology of swears. I was yelling at Corey while walking my dog that the etymology is never a fucking acronym for Old England because they didn't use acronyms, and was relieved that Trey was the voice of reason. I'm also glad that you didn't present the acronym Ship High in Transit as the etymology of shit, because that one wrong as hell too. I would suggest that you could do a future segment about insults / swears / sayings from other countries and the meanings and etymology, perhaps starting with us mob down under. My fave is, we're not here to fuck spiders. Keep up the good work, Adam. Obviously, someone from Australia.
Love it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're not here to fuck spiders. Yeah,
we're not here to fuck spiders.
That's like... That reminded me immediately of, do you know the Southern idiom of, I don't think I'm going to say the thing you're going to, but maybe, where it's like, where somebody's like, hey, why are you doing it that way? And it's like, well, I'm the one that's fucking this goat.
I'm fucking this dog. You're just holding its tail.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Hey, you're the one fucking this dog. I'm just holding its tail. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, you can switch up the animal. Yes, that's close enough. Yeah,
dude,
you're right.
It was said a lot when we were in the book buying business. That was what people would do, because there was always some like, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that. And somebody finally that just got fed up was just like, hey, you're fucking this dog. I'm just holding the tail. Which is essentially going, it's your world. I'm just living in it. You know what I mean?
The way that I always encountered it was always like someone's getting criticism for something they're doing, and they're like, hey, who's fucking this goat?
Exactly.
Me or you?
Exactly.
I'm the one that's fucking this goat, right?
And
leave me alone.
This one is throwing the onus on someone else, going like, oh, okay, fine, we'll do it your way. You're the one fucking this dog. I'm just holding its tail. Yeah, It's one of my favorite phrases. I say it all the time.
Yeah. Does hit it? I would love to unpack the etymology of various Australian idioms, because I guarantee you a ton of them I don't even know what they are. I'll put a note in the thing.
Yeah,
right
if
now.
we can remember, let's do it next episode. Trust me,
Australian
hey guys,
idioms.
We're getting close to 200 episodes. We're looking for shit to talk about. Just tell us. Although I'll be honest with you, I'm proud of us. It does seem like just when you think, oh my God, has the well run dry? It hasn't. You know what I mean? It just totally hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But we thank y'all for listening to Puttin' on Airs. And this is a good episode, by the way. If you're someone that just listens to it, maybe check us out on YouTube because a visual element is very good. And you can get that on our YouTube at watchpoa.com, which is wonderful. Like, subscribe, download, give us a 5-star review on whatever your podcast app is. It takes you 2 seconds, but it helps us a lot, helps people find us out there in the world. You can email us at puttingonairs@gmail.com. We will read your shit. Trey, where are you going to be in the next couple of weeks?
Okay. This is for next week.
Yep.
So, Sunday, if you're listening to this Friday, Sunday, I'm in Stamford, Connecticut, the suburbs of New York City. If you miss me in Manhattan, come to Stamford this Sunday. After that, a couple weeks off, June 28th in Wine Country, Napa, California. After that, Tulsa, Oklahoma, La Jolla, California, down there in San Diego way, and then a Midwest run at a bunch of other places in the near future. So go to TreyCrowder.com, check out all my upcoming tour dates and my most recent special, Trash Daddy. There's a link to that on TreyCrowder.com as well. So hope to see you out there.
Trash Daddy's really funny, by the way, and I enjoyed it because it was the first comedy special you've put out where I wasn't with you the whole time when you were putting the shit together. So it was like, it was neat. I got to enjoy it like as a Trey Crowder fan, which I am. But, you know, in our first specials, I enjoyed your special, but I'd also seen it ad nauseum. A million times. So I got to be surprised. I was like, God damn it. The boys still got it. You know what I mean? If you're listening to this when it comes out next weekend, I will be in Sunnyvale, California in the Bay Area at Rooster Teeth Feathers, June 19th through the 22nd. And then after that in Fort Worth, Texas, June 26th. And then after that, Lexington, Kentucky, August 14th at where we recorded our first ever album at Comedy off Broadway in Lexington. And then the night after that, I'm in Charlottesville, Virginia. Get all those tickets at CoreyRyanForrester.com, where you can also book me for a cameo. You can get to my bonus stuff site where I'm doing a sleeping podcast where I read Mark Twain to you. It's called Public Domain Sleepy Time Theater. It's very popular. I'm about to release it to everybody, but you'll get every episode immediately if you sign up there. So that and stay fancy, motherfuckers, and don't die. Because if you die, we won't get that download, and our sponsors won't pay us, and that won't hit.
Don't die.
Don't die. Love
Skew.
you. Here's Lydia Lovelace.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Royalty and rednecks are alike. They both like cutting and picking fights. Biscuits and baked beans where they don't belong. Sit on down with Corey and Trey and learn some fancy shit today. We'll laugh a little even when they're wrong. They'll take you to a magical place where if you call someone a cunt, nobody cares. They keep it debonair at putting on airs, putting on airs, putting on